Imagine a plain white t shirt, no logo, no branding, just the fabric. Now, what if I told you that this t shirt costs you over $1,200? And what if I told you people are actually lining up to get a hand on this t shirt? We live in a world where a bag can cost more than a car, where a coat can have a waiting list longer than a year, where the same cotton, same zipper, same thread, same design can cost you more than 10 times just because of the name on the label. Today, we are going to walk you through the top 20 most expensive clothing brands in the world. But here is the thing, I just don't want to show you a list. Anyone can do that. I want to show you why these brands can charge what they can charge. Because when you understand that, whether you are a fashion lover or a brand founder or a startup enthusiast or someone who has just wondered why does a Chanel bag can cost more than the cost of a trimester of college fees, you will never look at the price tag again in the same way. So let's get straight into it. Now, before we get into the brands, there is one thing I want to tell you. Most people think that the luxury brands are expensive because of the fabric, because of the stitching, because of the craftsmanship, and those things are there, they are right. But that's not the whole story. Here is what most people miss. Luxury brands are expensive because of three things working together. The first one is legacy. Chanel started in 1910. Louis Vuitton started in 1854. Burberry started in 1856. We are talking about brands that have survived 2 world wars, multiple recessions, and multiple ups and downs in trends, styles, and whatnot. And still, somehow, they still remain relevant today. That kind of staying power, it commands a price. Number two is scarcity. Luxury brands do not scale in the same way as mass market brands do. They produce less deliberately because the moment something becomes available to everyone, it stops being a luxury. Number three is the feeling they sell. This is the part absolutely nobody talks about. You are not buying a bag, you are buying a signal. You're buying the feeling of arrival, of taste, of success, which is exactly why they can put a price on. Now, I want you to keep these three things in mind as we walk through the list. You will start seeing a pattern emerge immediately. The first brand in our list is Chanel. When you think of timeless elegance, you think of Chanel. Chanel is usually the first name that pops up whenever we are thinking about timeless elegance. Founded by Coco Chanel in 1910, the brand became famous for tweed suits, quilted handbags, and of course, Chanel No. 5, which is still one of the best-selling perfumes, fragrances in the world even today. But here's the business insight that nobody talks about when it comes to Chanel. Coco Chanel did not design clothes. She designed freedom. She took women out of corsets and put them in jersey fabric. She built a brand on philosophy, not just product. And that philosophy has survived for over a century. Next, we have Louis Vuitton. Louis Vuitton started in 1854, not a fashion house, a trunk maker. He was building a luggage carrier for wealthy Parisians traveling by steamships. And here is the genius of that origin. The brand was built on utility first. Real craftsmanship, real function, real problem solving. The fashion came later. The prestige came last. Most brands that we see today, they are all trying to build prestige first and perhaps fashion. When you look at all the splashy photo shoots, Instagram, Reels, runway pictures, you will see that these are all fads. They're chasing prestige, they're chasing fashion, they're not chasing utility. They are doing it in the reverse manner and they're failing miserably. LV built trust first, prestige and fashion followed naturally. Next in our list is Gucci. Founded in Florence in 1921, Gucci is arguably the most reinvented luxury brand in history. There was a period in 1990s where Gucci was nearly bankrupt, struggling, diluted, losing relevance. Then Tom Ford took over it as a creative director and completely rebuilt the brand identity. The lesson: legacy alone does not protect you. You have to keep earning it. Next in our list is Versace. If Chanel is elegance and Louis Vuitton is heritage, then Versace is pure theater. Bold glamour, the Medusa logo, Italian luxury at its most unapologetic. Gianni Versace understood something that most designers even today miss: that clothing can be a performance, not just something you wear, but something you arrive in. Next we have Prada. Prada is an intellectual's luxury brand. Avant-garde aesthetics, bold prints, constant creative risk-taking. Miuccia Prada once said that ugly is interesting, and she meant it as a design philosophy. The nylon backpack that Prada made iconic, it was a deliberate provocation. Luxury fabric, mundane function. That tension is the brand. Next we have in our list is Dior. Christian Dior founded the brand in 1946, right after the Second World War, and his timing was everything. Post-war Europe was exhausted. Women had spent years in practical utilitarian clothing. Dior came out with a new look: clinched waist, full skirts, opulent femininity. It wasn't just fashion, it was a statement of hope. The brand was born in the moment of cultural hunger, and it fed it. Next we have is Hermes. Hermes was founded in 18th century, 1837 to be precise, as a harness maker for horses. Today it makes the most coveted bag on the planet, the Birkin bag, with a starting price of over $10,000 and a wait list that could be more than a year long. And here is the lesson from Hermes: they never chased trends. They never licensed aggressively. They never diluted. When the world told them to scale faster, they said no. And that restraint is the entire brand. Next we have in our list is Balmain. Pierre Balmain founded the brand in 1941. Today, Balmain stands for confidence, embellishments, and that very specific kind of glamour that makes a statement without saying a word. Next we have Burberry. Burberry, founded in 1856 by Thomas Burberry, who was 21 years old at that time. He invented gabardine fabric, weather resistant, breathable. Then he put that fabric on a trench coat, and that trench coat went to a war, literally. British officers won the Burberry trench coat in the First World War. The brand became synonymous with the British spirit of endurance and practicality, dressed up in elegance. Valentino. Valentino is romance. Lace, silk, the color red, a shade so distinctively theirs, it's simply called Valentino Red. The brand was founded in Rome in 1960, and it has always understood one thing that is crucial. Luxury is not about the garment. It is about how the garment makes you feel when you put it on. Givenchy. Hubert de Givenchy and Audrey Hepburn, that relationship between a designer and a muse, defined an era of fashion. That little black dress Givenchy designed for breakfast at Tiffany's is one of the most iconic garments in cinema history. It was auctioned for $923,000. A dress, almost $1 million. That's the power of a story attached to a garment. Balenciaga. Christopher Balenciaga was known as the master of couture. The current brand, reinvented by Dema Gvasalia, is one of the most provocative luxury houses operating today. Triple S sneakers, oversized silhouettes, irony as aesthetics. Balenciaga has made luxury deliberately uncomfortable. And somehow, that discomfort is exactly what makes it desirable. Alexander McQueen. Lee Alexander McQueen was perhaps the most theatrical designer of his generation. His runway shows were not fashion shows. They were experiences, provocations, sometimes even traumas. McQueen understood that fashion at its highest level is art, not clothing. and the price reflects that. Next we have is Saint Laurent. Yves Saint Laurent essentially invented modern luxury ready-to-wear. The tuxedo suits for women, low smoking. In 1966, it was considered scandalous. Today, it's classic. That is the life cycle of a true innovation. Shocking first, standard second, and iconic eventually. Dolce & Gabbana. No brand celebrates Italian culture as loudly or as unapologetically as Dolce & Gabbana. Baroque prints, Mediterranean color, craftsmanship rooted in Sicily. They don't follow global trends, they export their own. Fendi and Karl Lagerfeld, a creative partnership that lasted 54 years. The longest collaboration between a designer and a fashion house in history. That consistency, that creative depth is baked into every product they make. Bottega Veneta. Bottega Veneta's motto was, when your own initials are enough. No visible logos, no branding on the outside. For decades, this felt counter-cultural to the luxury fashion world. But the brand understood something ahead of its time. That true luxury does not need to announce itself. It whispers. Stella McCartney. Stella McCartney built a luxury brand on a principle most luxury brands ignored: sustainability. No leather, no fur, ethical sourcing. And she just didn't survive in it, she thrived. The lesson: you can build a premium brand around values, not just aesthetics. Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren grew up in Bronx. His real name was Ralph Lifshitz. He changed his name and built an entire mythology around American aristocracy. He didn't come from that world, he invented that world in the form of fabric. And people bought it, literally, even if the backstory was built. Marchesa. Marchesa sits at the absolute pinnacle of occasion dressing. Red carpet, galas, the most formal events in a person's life. When you are spending $10,000 on a dress, you are not paying for the fabric. You're paying to feel extraordinary on an extraordinary night. So, 20 brands, prices that make most people's eye water. Waiting list, legacy, craftsmanship, scarcity. But here is what I want to leave you with, because this is the part that matters the most. Whether you are a fashion buyer or a fashion brand owner, every single brand on this list got expensive the same way. They built trust slowly. They did not chase trends at all. They said no to things that would have made them money in the short term. They kept delivering decade after decade. Louis Vuitton did not become $500 worth of company in 5 years. It took over 150 years. Chanel did not become iconic because of a viral campaign. It became iconic because Coco Chanel had a point of view and she never let it go. Now here is the most interesting question. For someone who is building a fashion brand today, what does this mean? It means fundamentals haven't changed. Heritage takes time. Trust takes consistency. Scarcity is a strategy, not a supply chain problem. And the feeling that you sell matters a lot more than the product you sell. The brands that will be on this list 50 years from now are being built somewhere today, maybe in a studio apartment, maybe on a laptop at 2 a.m. in the morning. The question is whether they understand what they are building. If today's video is interesting to you, and if you are someone who is thinking of starting a fashion brand, particularly in clothing, or you have already started and still trying to figure out how to build something that lasts, I would recommend checking out 2 things. The first is our masterclass. If you are still in the exploration phase, still figuring out if this is the right move for you or not, the masterclass is designed to give you clarity. Not hype, clarity. What does your starting point look like? What does your version of success even mean? And what is going to take you from your starting point to your ideal version of success? The second is our bootcamp. If you have already decided to start a fashion brand, you are already building, you are already moving, and you just need the right systems. The bootcamp walks you through all the three major transitions: the transition from idea to design, the transition from design to product, and the transition from product to sales. With the numbers, the mechanics, and the founder level thinking you need to navigate without losing your shirt and sleep in that process. Both the links are in description. No pressure, just go and check which one suits your needs the best. And if you found this video useful, subscribe, because this is the kind of content we make here. Not hype, not list for the sake of lists. Real insights for real people building real businesses. I'll see you in the next one.